The great crystal halls of Zarian Prime buzzed with worried voices as alien delegates gathered for an emergency meeting. Ambassador Zethkar stood at the center, his 4 arms moving as he showed holographic images to the crowd. The pictures showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star Earth. "Council members," Zethkar said, his clicking sounds translated into common galactic language, "we have a problem. The species called humans from the Sol system are not like other races we have met before." Elder Counselor Marathis floated forward, her ghostly form shining with concern. She had lived for 3,000 years and watched many civilizations rise and fall. What she saw in the human data files scared her more than any war fleet. "Look at this," she said, pointing to the hologram. "These humans survived ice ages that would kill most species. They spread across their entire planet, living in deserts, frozen lands, and deep forests. But that's not the strangest part." The image changed to show human cities, wars, and space rockets. They have been fighting each other for thousands of years, yet they also create art, music, and science at the same time. Most races either focus on war or peace. Humans do both. Captain Lee Dongwook appeared in the next hologram. He was the commander of Earth's first ship to leave their solar system. The human looked directly at the alien cameras with calm, calculating eyes. He showed no fear, but also no anger. He was simply studying them, like a scientist looking at a new puzzle. "Watch how he acts," Marathis continued. "Most new species either run away in terror or attack us in panic. This human just watches and learns. He is figuring out how we work." The hologram shifted to show more human activities. Rescue workers saving people from earthquakes. Soldiers fighting in terrible conditions, but still helping wounded enemies. Scientists working together across different countries to cure diseases. They risk their own lives to save others, even strangers, Dr. Veltar said, her tentacles waving nervously. But they also create weapons that could destroy their entire world. How can one species be so kind and so dangerous at the same time? Warlord Drakdos, a massive insect-like creature, clicked his sharp mandibles and laughed. "You are all afraid of mammals who barely left their home star. My empire controls 12 star systems. I have conquered 47 worlds. These humans have one small planet with primitive rockets." "That's exactly why they worry me," Marathis replied. "Every other species we know specialized in one thing. The Kethmori became perfect warriors, but cannot adapt. The Silthani became master traders, but avoid all fights. The Mordok became raiders, but cannot think long-term. Humans remained generalists. They can do everything." Another hologram showed Captain Park Ji-hoon directing a rescue mission during First Contact. When a solar storm threatened alien ships, the human captain had risked his own crew to save beings he had never met before. His calm orders, and quick thinking impressed even veteran space commanders. "Look at their military history," Marathis said as new images appeared. "They have fought with sticks, swords, guns, tanks, aircraft, and nuclear weapons. Each time they face a new challenge, they create new solutions. They don't just adapt, they turn every problem into an advantage." The images showed human soldiers in different environments: jungle warfare, desert combat, underwater battles, mountain fighting, and even space operations. Each time, humans had found ways to win using whatever tools they had. "Their evolution is all wrong," Dr. Veltar added. "Most intelligent species evolved from prey animals that learned to cooperate. A few evolved from pack hunters that learned to use tools. Humans evolved from persistence hunters, predators that chase their prey until it collapses from exhaustion. They never give up." Dracos waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Emotional primitives. Their compassion makes them weak. I propose we take their resources before they become a problem. Their planet has rare minerals, and their brains would be valuable for medical research." "You don't understand," Marathis said urgently. They're not weak because they care about others. They're dangerous because they care about others. A species that will die for strangers will definitely die for their own family. And if they will die for their cause, they will kill for it too. The debate continued for hours. Some council members agreed with Mirathus that humans needed protection and careful study. Others sided with Draktos, seeing an opportunity to gain resources from a primitive world. When the vote came, the numbers glowed in the air above the assembly. 847 delegates voted against protecting humans. 234 voted in favor. Draktos had won permission to begin resource acquisition operations in human space. As the council members left, Mirathus sent a private message to her personal archives. Today, we made a terrible mistake. We ignored the warning signs because we thought strength only comes from advanced technology and large armies. We forgot that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that looks harmless until it's too late. May the cosmos forgive our arrogance, because I don't think the humans will. The decision was made. The Kethmori Empire would test humanity's resolve, expecting easy victory over a primitive world. They had no idea they were about to awaken something that would change the galaxy forever. Commander Kim Soo-jin floated in the zero gravity of the UES Endeavor's bridge, watching Jupiter slowly spin through the main view screen. Her crew had been exploring the outer solar system for 6 months, setting up communication satellites and mining survey points. It was supposed to be a routine mission to prepare for humanity's expansion into space. That peaceful mission ended when reality seemed to tear open like cloth. "Commander," shouted Ensign Han Minho from his station, "I'm reading massive energy spikes. Something big is coming." 12 enormous ships appeared out of nowhere around Jupiter. Each alien vessel was the size of a city, covered in smooth curves and bristling with weapons that glowed with barely controlled power. The human ship looked like a tiny minnow surrounded by hungry sharks. The communication system crackled too, life with harsh, grinding sounds that hurt to hear. The computer worked frantically to translate the alien language into something humans could understand. "Attention primitive species called human," a mechanical voice announced. "I am War Commander, Vractal of the mighty Kethmori Imperial Fleet. You will immediately give us all your technology and surrender your planet to our rule. If you resist, we will destroy every human in existence. You have 24 hours to obey." Kim looked at her first officer, Lieutenant Colonel Yang Taemin. Both had fought in Earth's brutal resource wars, when countries battled over water and rare metals. They knew what desperate fighting looked like. "War Commander Vractal," Kim replied, keeping her voice steady even though her heart was racing. "I am Commander Kim Soo-jin of the United Earthship Endeavor. I need 24 hours to talk with my leaders about your request." The aliens' laughter sounded like breaking glass mixed with grinding metal. "Good. Fear makes mammals smart. Use this time to prepare your surrender. Fighting us is impossible and stupid." As soon as the transmission ended, Kim turned to her crew. "Get me Admiral Cho on Earth immediately. Maximum priority. Engineering team, I want complete analysis of their energy patterns and communication signals. Science team, figure out how their translator works." What the aliens thought was fear was actually humanity's greatest weapon, the ability to think fast under pressure and turn any situation into an advantage. Back on Earth, Admiral Cho Sung-woo received the message and immediately activated humanity's secret plan. For the first time in history, every country on Earth worked together under one command. Project Bootstrap began across the solar system. Every human facility became part of a massive war machine. Dr. Lim Yun-young at Luna Base studied the alien transmission data. "Admiral, I found something important. They're faster than light communication. Uses quantum entanglement. If we can disrupt those quantum connections, we can make their entire fleet blind and deaf." Captain Song Hyan-woo on Mars had a different idea. "Sir, Our orbital factories and mining platforms can be turned into weapons. We launch heavy metal rods using mass drivers. At high speed, they hit like nuclear bombs without radiation. Meanwhile, every human engineer in the solar system worked on reverse engineering alien technology from just one transmission. They studied energy patterns, communication protocols, and weapon signatures. Within hours, human scientists understood more about Kethmori technology than most galactic species learned in decades. On military bases across Earth and its colonies, soldiers prepared for a type of war they had only imagined. Captain Park Min-soo loaded his converted cargo ship with explosives. "If we're going to die," he told his crew, "we take some of them with us." Lieutenant Colonel Chen So-young gathered her squadron of mining ships that had been quickly fitted with improvised weapons. "Remember, we're not trying to outfight them. We're trying to outthink them." As the deadline approached, humanity revealed its true nature. Every civilian became a warrior. Every tool became a weapon. Every challenge became a puzzle to solve. When the 24 hours ended, War Commander Vroktal expected either surrender or panic. Instead, Commander Kim's response was simple and calm. No. The first human attack came from directions the aliens never expected. Orbital factories launched tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds. The kinetic energy was devastating, but the Kethmori couldn't understand how chemically propelled metal could penetrate their advanced shields. "Impossible," Vroktal chittered as his flagship shook under bombardment. "They're using primitive solid projectiles." "War Commander," his officer reported, "their small ships are approaching at attack speed." The human fleet looked pathetic compared to alien technology, converted civilian ships with obvious weapon grafts and welded armor plates. But as they got closer, they revealed capabilities that defied all military logic. Captain Park Min-soo's voice broadcast across all frequencies. "For Earth and freedom." His explosive-laden ship rammed directly into a Kethmori cruiser's engine section. The explosion destroyed 2 alien vessels and damaged a third. "They're committing suicide." The Kethmori tactical officer screamed. "Their crews are killing themselves to hurt us." This was something the aliens had never encountered. Every civilized species fought according to rules that preserved valuable individuals. Humans treated their own lives as ammunition to be spent for victory. The battle turned completely when Dr. Lim's quantum disruptors activated. Every Kethmori ship suddenly lost communication with the fleet. Their sophisticated computer systems crashed. Perfect formations dissolved into chaos as each ship fought alone. Meanwhile, humans maintained coordination through simple radio signals that were immune to quantum disruption. They fought like a pack of wolves against confused individual prey. Within 3 days, the mighty Kethmori fleet was broken. 8 ships destroyed, 3 captured, and the survivors fleeing in terror back to their empire with news that would shock the galaxy. War Commander Vroktal had conquered 47 worlds using the same simple method. Show overwhelming force, demand surrender, and watch primitive species bow down in terror. The formula had never failed. He expected humans to follow the same pattern. Instead, their response to his ultimatum was one word that changed everything: no. The first human attack came from everywhere at once. Space around Jupiter erupted with streaks of light as tungsten rods fired from orbital platforms struck his fleet at incredible speeds. The kinetic energy was enormous, but Vroktal couldn't understand how simple metal projectiles were damaging his advanced shields. "War Commander," his tactical officer chittered in panic. "They're using solid metal as weapons. How can primitive materials penetrate our defenses?" "Impossible," Vroktal growled, watching his shields flicker under bombardment. Increased power to defensive systems. But the human attacks kept coming from new directions. Mining platforms that looked like harmless industrial equipment revealed hidden weapon systems. Communication satellites fired concentrated laser bursts. Even garbage collection ships launched clouds of metal debris at high velocity. "Sir, detecting incoming vessels," the sensor operator announced. Multiple small craft approaching at attack speed. Rectal studied the tactical display and almost laughed. The human fleet looked like a collection of spare parts held together with hope and determination. Converted cargo ships with welded armor plates, mining vessels with obvious weapon grafts, even what appeared to be passenger shuttles modified for combat. Pitiful, he decided. Our point defense systems will destroy them easily. That's when Captain Park, Minsu's voice crackled across all communication frequencies. "This is the UES Indomitable. For Earth and freedom." Fractal watched in horror as the human cargo ship, loaded with improvised explosives, slammed directly into one of his cruisers. The explosion was so massive, it destroyed 2 Kethmori vessels and severely damaged a third. They killed themselves, his communications officer stammered. The entire crew died in that attack. War Commander, another officer reported, voice shaking. We're detecting similar attack patterns from multiple human vessels. They're all on suicide runs. This was beyond anything in Kethmori military doctrine. Civilized warfare preserved valuable trained personnel. These humans were treating their own lives as weapons, to be expended for tactical advantage. Lieutenant Colonel Chen So-young led a squadron of converted mining ships against the alien formation. Her vessels moved in patterns that confused the sophisticated Kethmori, targeting computers. Instead of traditional military formations, humans swarmed like angry insects, constantly changing direction and attack angles. "I can't get a target lock," reported the weapons officer on Vrektal's flagship. "They're moving randomly. There's no pattern to analyze." "Of course there's a pattern," Vrektal snapped. "All military tactics follow logical patterns. But human tactics didn't follow logic, they followed instinct. Every human pilot made independent decisions while staying coordinated through simple radio chatter. They fought like a pack of wolves, each individual reacting to the situation while maintaining group cohesion. The battle reached its turning point when Dr. Lim's quantum disruption devices activated across the human fleet. The effect was immediate and devastating to the Kethmori forces. "War Commander," came panicked reports from across the fleet. "We've lost all quantum communication. Ship-to-ship networks are down. Combat AI systems are crashing." Fractal S, perfect. Fleet formation dissolved into chaos as each ship suddenly fought alone. Without their network connections, Kethmori vessels couldn't coordinate attacks or share targeting data. Their advanced artificial intelligence systems, dependent on quantum processing, simply stopped working. Meanwhile, human forces maintained perfect coordination through primitive radio transmissions that were completely immune to quantum disruption. Their simple technology became an unexpected advantage. "This is impossible," Fractal chittered as his flagship shuddered under concentrated fire from human vessels. "How can primitives maintain coordination when our advanced systems fail?" Captain Oh Young-ho of the UES Defiance discovered something even more shocking. Damaged Kethmori vessels could be boarded. His Marines, wearing hastily modified environmental suits, fought through alien ship corridors with weapons designed for Earth warfare. Sergeant Kim Dayoon led her squad through the twisted metal passages of a crippled Kethmori destroyer. The aliens, despite their technological superiority, had never faced close-quarters combat against persistence hunters evolved from Earth's predators. "They fight like wild animals," reported a surviving Kethmori officer. "No formation, no honor, no rules. They attack from every direction, using weapons not designed for space combat." The Kethmori had evolved from herd animals that fought in organized groups with established hierarchies. They couldn't comprehend humans who fought as individuals while thinking as a collective, adapting their tactics moment by moment. Within 72 hours, the outcome was clear. 8 Kethmori vessels destroyed, 3 captured intact, and the rest fleeing in terror. The primitive human fleet had not just survived, They had won decisively against the galaxy's most feared military force. As alien ships jumped too faster than light speed to escape, Captain Oh Young-ho stood in the corridor of a captured Kethmori vessel watching his engineers already beginning to reverse engineer the technology. "Command," he reported to Earth, "hostile fleet neutralized. We have captured advanced alien technology and taken prisoners for intelligence gathering. Recommend immediate analysis of enemy capabilities." War Commander Vraktal's surviving ships carried news back to the Kethmori Empire that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Humans didn't just fight to win, they fought in ways no civilized species would consider, turning their own apparent weaknesses into devastating advantages. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one that refuses to follow the rules. The news of humanity's impossible victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In meeting halls on 1,000 worlds, alien leaders stared at battle recordings with growing disbelief. The mighty Kethmori Empire, conquerors of 4 star systems, had been defeated by a single planet species using primitive technology in the crystal chambers of Zarian Prime. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Kreltak of the Trade Federation slammed his tentacle on his speaking podium. "Explain this," he demanded. "How did mammals with chemical rockets destroy our most advanced war fleet?" Elder Marathis floated before the massive viewing screen, studying footage from the battle. The images showed things that shouldn't be possible. Human ships ramming alien vessels in coordinated suicide attacks. Primitive radio signals maintaining coordination, while advanced quantum networks failed. And boarding parties fighting with weapons designed for planetary warfare. "Look at this carefully," she said, pointing to a recording of Sergeant Kim Dayun leading Marines through Kethmori ship corridors. "They reverse-engineered our quantum communication systems in hours, not years. They modified their weapons during active combat. They used their own infrastructure as ammunition." The surviving Kethmori officers gave their reports with visible shame. "They don't fight like any civilized species," War Commander Vraktal testified. "They sacrifice expensive ships like they cost nothing. They risk trained personnel on desperate attacks. They treat warfare like a puzzle to solve instead of a ritual to follow." News of the human victory had an unexpected effect across the galaxy. Other predatory species saw opportunity where the Council saw danger. War Marshal Vekmer of the Kethmori Grand Fleet received emergency orders from the Imperial High Command. "Assemble the largest battle force in our history," the command stated. 200 vessels with authorization for complete planetary sterilization. This human infection must be stopped before it spreads. But the Kethmori weren't the only ones interested in Sol System now. The Silthani Consortium saw potential profit in human military technology. Their war traders began assembling a fleet to capture human scientists and engineers for their knowledge. The Mordok raiders had a simpler goal. If humans could defeat the Kethmori, their planet must contain valuable resources worth claiming. 30 raider ships prepared for a quick strike to grab slaves and technology before the larger fleets arrived. On Earth, intelligence services detected the massive alien fleet movements converging on Sol System. Admiral Cho Sung-woo called an emergency meeting of the Planetary Defense Council. "We're facing a 3-front war," he announced grimly. "The Kethmori want to exterminate us. The Silthani want to capture us for our knowledge. The Mordok want to enslave us for profit." The human response was immediate and total. Protocol Prometheus activated across every human facility in the solar system. Civilian factories converted to weapons production. Mining colonies prepared for siege warfare. Research stations began developing new technologies for the coming battle. Dr. Nam Yunetsio, a psychologist turned warfare specialist, led teams developing methods to confuse alien minds. "Every species we've encountered thinks differently," she explained. "The Kethmori follow rigid hierarchies. The Silthani avoid direct confrontation. The Mordok use fear as their primary weapon. We can use their own psychology against them. Professor Kong Minjun converted university engineering programs into combat training courses. Students learned to build weapons from household materials, turn civilian vehicles into military equipment, and transform any environment into a battlefield. Captain Lee Sojin of the Lunar Defense Corps made the most disturbing discovery while analyzing captured alien databases. The information revealed a pattern that explained everything about galactic civilization. Admiral, she reported, every advanced species in the galaxy shows signs of artificial evolutionary limits. They've been selectively bred or modified to excel in specific areas while losing adaptability. The data was clear and terrifying. The Kethmori had become perfect space warriors, but couldn't adapt their tactics when situations changed. The Silthani were master negotiators and traders, but panicked in direct combat. The Mordok were efficient raiders, but lacked strategic planning abilities. It's like they've all been domesticated, Dr. Nam realized. Bred for specific purposes, like farm animals. But not us, Admiral Cho said quietly. Humans remained generalists. We never specialized ourselves into evolutionary dead ends. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival, they were fighting as the only truly free species in the galaxy. Every other race had been turned into living tools, efficient but limited. As three massive alien fleets converged on Sol System, humanity prepared for total war, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Every asteroid became a fortress. Every human became a potential combatant. Every piece of human technology became a weapon. Children learned combat engineering in schools, while their grandparents designed psychological warfare techniques. Artists created propaganda that would confuse alien minds, while scientists reverse-engineered, captured technology at impossible speeds. Captain Bei Hyunjin prepared his squadron of converted ore haulers for the coming battle. His ships looked crude compared to alien technology, but they carried something no advanced species possessed: the desperate creativity of cornered predators who refused to surrender. Remember, he told his crews over the radio, we're not trying to match their technology, we're trying to outthink them. Every alien weakness is our advantage. Every human strength is their nightmare. The stage was set for the largest space battle in galactic history. 3 alien fleets carrying the most advanced weapons known to civilization were about to discover why evolution had made humans the most dangerous species in the universe. Not because they were the strongest or smartest, but because they were the only ones still truly wild. The largest fleet in galactic history assembled at the edge of Sol System, like a storm of metal and death. War Marshal Beckmer commanded 200 Kethmori warships, their hulls gleaming with weapons that could crack planets. 50 Silthani war traders flanked them, bristling with captured devices and boarding equipment. 30 Mordok raider vessels completed the force, their crews hungry for slaves and plunder. Against this overwhelming armada, humanity fielded a ragtag collection of converted civilian ships, mining vessels, and hastily armed cargo haulers. On paper, it looked like the most one-sided battle in history. The aliens expected to fight in open space, according to civilized rules of warfare. Instead, they found themselves entering a three-dimensional maze of death. "What is this?" demanded Captain Velkaron of the Silthani flagship, as his sensors detected thousands of objects throughout the asteroid belt. These readings make no sense. The asteroid belt around Sol had been transformed into the ultimate fortress. Every mining operation had become a hidden weapons platform. Tunnels connected rocks across millions of kilometers. Processing stations, concealed missile launchers and particle beam weapons. "They've turned their entire industrial base into a battlefield," reported Dekmer's tactical officer with growing unease. "Every civilian facility is armed." The first attacks came from directions that shouldn't exist in space warfare. Asteroids that looked empty suddenly opened hidden bays and launched swarms of fighters. Mining ships emerged from camouflaged tunnels, their industrial lasers cutting through alien hull plating like paper. Commander Bay, high engine, led a squadron of converted ore haulers against the Mordock raiders. His vessels looked crude and clumsy, but they employed tactics no civilized military would consider. Ramming speed, Bay ordered, as his ship, loaded with nuclear charges, accelerated toward a Mordock destroyer. At the last moment, his crew evacuated using captured alien teleportation technology, leaving their ship to detonate on impact. They're using their own vessels as missiles. The Mordock warchief screamed in panic. How can any species be so wasteful, with expensive equipment? But humans didn't see ships as expensive equipment. They saw them as tools to be used and discarded for victory. Every vessel was expendable if it accomplished the mission. The battle turned into chaos as human boarding parties began capturing alien ships. Major Park Yun-hai led Marines wearing reverse-engineered alien armor through the corridors of a Kethmori dreadnought. They didn't just capture the vessel, they turned its weapons against the fleet that had built it. This is War Marshal Dick. To all Kethmori vessels came a transmission in perfect alien language. Surrender immediately, or face total destruction. Impossible, chittered the real Dekmer from his command ship. That's my voice, but I didn't send that message. Captain Ko Jin-young had learned to mimic alien speech patterns perfectly. His psychological warfare teams broadcast surrender orders using the voices of enemy commanders, creating confusion throughout the alien fleets. The Silfani, bred for negotiation and trade, panicked when their normal communication protocols failed. They began attacking each other, thinking their own ships had been compromised by human boarding parties. Our own people are shooting at us, Captain Velkaran reported in terror. The humans have turned us against ourselves. But the most devastating human weapon wasn't technology, it was their refusal to accept defeat. When alien ships destroyed human vessels, the crews didn't retreat. They ejected in escape pods and continued fighting with handheld weapons. When space stations were captured, civilian workers sabotaged the facilities rather than surrender. Dr. Lim Yoon had programmed computer viruses into every piece of human technology. When aliens tried to use captured equipment, the systems turned against them. If you steal our tools, she had said, they become our weapons. The tide of battle shifted completely when human engineers began broadcasting the locations of alien command ships. They had cracked every enemy communication code and were listening to all tactical discussions in real time. How are they intercepting our quantum-encrypted transmissions? Demanded a Silfani captain moments before his ship exploded under concentrated human fire. Within hours, the largest fleet in galactic history was in full retreat. 200 alien vessels had been reduced to fewer than 50 survivors. The remainder limped away, carrying news that would reshape galactic civilization forever. War Marshal Vekmer, his mighty fleet destroyed, transmitted the final surrender from his damaged flagship. We accept your terms, humans. The Galactic Council will hear of our defeat. Captain Kim Soo-jin, now promoted to Admiral, responded from the bridge of a captured alien dreadnought. Tell the Council that humanity offers peace to all species willing to live in freedom, but any race that tries to enslave others will face the same fate you did today. The galaxy learned its lesson the hard way. They had ignored warnings about humanity, dismissing them as primitive mammals unworthy of concern. That arrogance cost them the largest military fleet ever assembled and forced a complete restructuring of galactic politics. The price of ignorance had been paid in blood and metal. Now every species knew that humans were not just another race to be conquered or ignored. They were evolution's apex predators, turned loose among the stars to ensure that freedom survived in a galaxy that had forgotten what it meant. The war was over, but humanity's real work was just beginning, teaching the universe that some ideas are worth fighting for, no matter the cost.